Video for project, part 3, trial balances, closing entries, and the financial statement. So we finished all the journal entries, including adjusting entries. Actually, before we do the adjusting entries, okay, we're going to work on the trial balance. Or you can work after the adjusting entries. It doesn't matter. So typically we're going to do 2 trial balance before the adjusting entries. First, the trial balance for November 30th and the trial balance for December 31st. So trial balance basically is a list of the ending balance from all accounts from the general ledger. Okay, we have all the accounts in general ledgers. Once we finish your journal entry, we're going to post numbers into the ledger. Okay, so they will have an ending balance. First, I will try to list all their existing balance, okay, for all accounts, and that becomes my November 30th. Before I work on the project, this is my existing trial balance. So I list all their accounts, starting with cash, liability, equity, revenue, and expense account. I list all their debit and credit balance as of November 30th. So total debits should equal total credits. Okay, so all accounts has been listed correctly in this trial. Then we finish all the regular journal entries. This November 30th trial is optional. Okay, you don't have to do that. But once we finish all the regular journal entries, we post all the numbers to the ledger. Okay, then we will have this December 31st trial. Again, total debits equals total credits. Okay. And we post all the adjusting entries. Once we finish adjusting entries, we post numbers into the ledger. And for the adjusting columns, debits, total debits equals total credits. Then we add the December 31st balance with adjustment balance. We will have this called adjusted trial balance. Adjusted trial balance. Okay, total debits equals total credits. Okay, and from the adjusted trial, we can easily get the financial statement. How? First, we're going to cut this part, revenues and expenses part. Okay, starting from revenues, and we cut all the expenses, and this become our income statement. Right? Sales revenue minus all the expenses equals my net income. And this part right, all the assets, liabilities, and equities will be reported in the balance sheet. Okay. So we have the income statement and balance sheet. Again, in the trial, make sure that numbers are the same. Total debits equal total credit, and then you're gonna format these numbers to become the income statement and statement return earnings, in which we're gonna post right. We're gonna credit. If we have net income, we're gonna close net income to return earnings. Right. And the balance sheet, which reports financial positions, equity, liability, stockholders' equity. So a few things I want to mention in this trial balance. Okay. In order to make sure that total debits equals total credits. First, the income tax expense. Remember in the question we have prepaid. We have prepaid $72,000 income tax. Okay, but what is my total income tax? Right, income tax is from the pre-tax earnings. Okay, so where's my pre-tax earnings? The pre-tax earnings equals what? Equals my revenue minus all the expense account. Exclude the income tax. So it's revenue minus or expenses account, excluding income tax amount. Okay, so we can get to these pre-tax earnings basically from the right here, from the trial balance income statement numbers right here, excluding the income tax expense. Revenues minus all other expenses account. We will have the pre-tax income. Do not minus the income tax. Okay, then we're going to follow this sequence to get to the the actual income tax. So assume we have, for example, $200,000 pre-tax income. Okay, and the whole amount is subject to the state taxes. So let's check what is my state taxes, the 4.5%. So my state tax is 4.5%, or $900,000. And the question says the state income tax is deductible on federal tax return. Therefore, the income subject to federal tax is my pre-tax income minus the state tax. Okay. Then we're going to work on the federal income tax, which is which adopts a progressive rate. The first $50,000 subject to 15%. So we are well above $50,000. So first we're going to pay 15%. Okay, our income also above the 75%, also above the $75,000. So next $25,000 we're going to pay 25%. Okay, the rest amount we're going to pay 34%. So our federal income tax income minus the $75,000, which we already calculated, taxes is a remainder part. And we're going to pay 34% on that. So the total federal tax together is $53,190. Okay, but this is based on the assumption that we made $200,000 pre-tax income, but actual pre-tax income will be a little bit above $200,000. It's above $200,000, okay? And based on the question, we also have the federal surtax. Federal surtax is charged for income between $100,000 and is charged above $100,000. And between $100,000 and $335,000, it's 5% surtax. Okay, and it's capped. The amount is capped on $335,000 pre-tax income, or at $11,750. The surtax capped. And if you look at our pre-tax federal income, it's just between these numbers. So we're going to just charge a 5% federal surtax. So federal surtax is our federal income multiplied by 5%. The total federal tax together equals the federal tax plus the surtax. So we have the state tax, we have the total federal tax. Okay, the total income tax for 2018, okay, will be $71,740. Okay, it was kind of small. So let's increase my assumption. Let's say my pre-tax income. Let's say $240,000. Okay, that's much closer to the actual pre-tax income in this project. If you look at the question, we already paid, we paid $72,000 during the year. So the additional income tax expense we're going to book is a difference between these two, or $16,438. Wait a minute, I think I made a mistake calculating the federal surtax. Okay, it's not based on the full amount of federal tax, federal income. Actually, it's based on the income subject to federal taxes minus the thresholds, $100,000. If you look at questions, it's only charged between $100,000 and $335,000. That's 5%. And above $335,000, this amount is fixed at $11,750. Okay. So my surtax should be based on my current assumptions. My surtax should be $6,460, and my total income tax $83,438. I already paid $72,000, so I just pay accrue, or not pay, accrue additional $11,438. And we debit income tax expense and credit income tax payable. And this should be also recorded in the adjusting journal entries. So this is adjusting journal entries. Right? So this is how we figure out my adjusting journal entries for income tax, and my total income tax we used in the adjusted trial balance. So what is my net income? Net income, right, equals pre-tax minus income tax. Right. That is, we're going to get a net income. Get a net income. All right. Finally, don't forget to record the closing journal entries. Right. We're going to close dividend to retained earnings. We're going to close all the revenue and expenses account. Okay, all these should flow to retained earnings. That's closing journal entries. All right, I think that's pretty much for the project. You may not hit 100% of the trial of the check figures, but try your best. Try your best, okay? And grading is based on effort. So if you go through all the procedures, if you've done all the journal entries, okay, you may miss a little bit, you know, here or there, but you should be able to get most of the credit. All right? That's pretty much for the project.